I was gonna provide that to you, and then just kind of use this as an opportunity.
I'm sorry.
If you wanted to view any of the evidence, body camera footage, you're welcome to. You just kind of let me know.
Okay, so let's see here. So, okay, and so what I am here for is to get, so I do appreciate this. What I need to know though is what's the definition for unlawfully operate upon public highway?
So that's saying you were unlawfully operating a vehicle on a public highway because your registration was expired.
Okay, so where is that statute located?
Okay, so these are the two statutes we're dealing with, okay? 502-407,
Mhm.
502.040.
Mhm.
This is requiring registration in the state of Texas
Mhm.
under the Texas Transportation Code, and
That's under fine law, okay.
and then this is saying, this is what you were cited for was the expired registration under this
Mhm.
section.
Okay.
Okay.
So, okay, but now there's a couple of things that I would like to just bring up and tell me what you think based on your professional expertise.
Okay.
How does this apply against, say, the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution?
Okay. So.
Like, if you know the Fourth Amendment, we both understand that I am legally able to allowed to retain my documents with provided there is no warrant. I'm able to retain my documents free from unreasonable search and seizure. I am nervous. This is intimidating. I appreciate your cordialness, and I feel like there are a couple of things that need to be addressed before I can willfully contract with the state, because that's what this is a contract. And you cannot formulate a contract under duress. There's no legal valid. So in either case, how does that apply against the Fourth Amendment?
This is a law under the Texas Transportation Code.
Sure, but you do have the discretion to apply the law correctly.
So if you want to try to argue that your rights were violated, then you would have to take that up with the judge. I mean, the thing is, you're set for a jury trial, and what the judge is going to do is he's going to provide the jury that's picked with the charge of the court, and it's going to contain very similar language from the Transportation Code of the requirements for registration on your vehicle, okay? And the jury will be instructed to follow those charges, follow that law. And so they're just going to hear about the facts of the case, and then it's my job as the prosecutor to prove those elements of the offense beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. Okay, that burden is on me. But they're not going to be there to decide the law.
No, that's correct.
That's set for expired registration.
And this is the part that I'm going to get you to define.
Okay.
Like with detail.
Fine, I don't have to define it, but I'm going to prove it to the jury.
Okay.
The elements of the offense.
Okay. And so, how does apply? How do you still have not said how this dissolves the Fourth Amendment? How just this supersedes the Constitution?
It has nothing to do with that.
Did you swear an oath to uphold the Constitution?
I did.
Okay, so the Fourth Amendment applies here and is already recognized by the state of Texas, by the city of Odessa where I live, and by several other cities around it. Okay, how?
It's not an unlawful search and seizure. And I don't know, respectfully, I don't know how much further we're gonna go down this road, because I'm gonna file my response to your motion to dismiss, and then it's gonna be left up to the judge to decide what he wants to do. Respectfully, I know you don't agree with this, but this is the laws in the state of Texas, and this is the law that the court follows for registration requirements.
But it applies
It
to
has not changed.
it applies to commercial vehicles, and what I'm trying to prove here is the law is the law, but the law outlines everything it outlines with commercial vehicles and commercial enterprise, debt entities, corporations, and business ventures. Private automobiles do not apply.
Okay. All of these things that you're mentioning, I just want to give you a heads up now. If you mention this sort of stuff in front of the jury, I'm going to object.
Okay, based on what grounds?
Because a lot of what you're mentioning is a misstatement of the law, and the judge knows that.
Okay, so how does this apply to the Fifth Amendment? If I have the right to remain silent, and that's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, right to remain silent. Do I maintain the right to remain silent here?
For what?
For registration. Say a cop pulls me over and he asks me for my license or registration. At that point, that is an arrest at that time. And if you were to read me my Miranda rights, part of that would include the right to remain silent. At that point, am I allowed to invoke my right to remain silent and retain my information and prevent it from showing the officer?
You have the right to remain silent, but you do have to provide your license and registration.
The license I can understand, but the registration.
And your registration is also on a sticker on your vehicle, or they can run the plate.
Okay, and so with sex offenders, I'm not a sex offender. Sex offenders don't have to register anymore. How does a sex offender? How are they able to retain their Fifth Amendment right, and I'm not?
That has nothing to do with this.
Well, it's a registry.
Respectfully, we could go down this road probably for like 3 or 4 hours.
Well, I mean,
And I'm not gonna do that.
look,
Okay?
I don't want to be harassed by men with guns. I didn't do anything
You are
wrong.
not being harassed.
I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, the only
I'm
person.
not saying you're a bad person whatsoever. It's an expired registration ticket.
But that can be handled in a office setting. We don't have to have police officers and warrants and stuff like that in court procedures.
So, like I said, and I know
That's
you
not
don't
necessary.
want to, if you update your registration on your vehicle, I can dismiss your ticket. But apart from that, I can't dismiss it.
So okay, so let me ask you: if I were to plead guilty, do I have to sign a waiver form?
A waiver of what?
A waiver to waive my rights to due process.
That's the court's thing downstairs. You just change your plea to guilty.
Then I would sign a waiver form, right?
I think you signed some sort of paper that has been created by the court.
Okay, and it's only up until then that I waive my rights to the Fifth Amendment, which means up until then, I have no requirement to show government any documents, and I do have the right to remain silent.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
You have those rights. I agree with
How
you. I'm
do
not
you-
here to debate that.
You
But
should.
the fact of the matter is, I'm not trying to cut you off. It's
I'm
an
listening.
expired registration ticket. I don't disagree with you. You're making some valid points. But
Thank
this
you, I
is
appreciate
the
it.
law by the Midland Municipal Court. It's very simple with expired registration. This is the law that the court is going to hold the jurors to.
So the Constitution does not apply.
I did not say that. The Constitution applies. This applies as well.
But the Constitution supersedes this.
So what we're gonna do is you and I.
You should be my
have already
hero.
discussed-
Be my
Excuse me?
hero. Be my hero.
Okay.
Recognize that this is a violation against the Constitution,
It's
and
not.
and protect my rights.
It's not.
If I was a corporation or a business or UPS, I have every obligation to have to sign up. I have to register. That is well known.
Okay.
The state of Texas knows it. I cannot, in full conscience, engage in a contract where my rights are being used against me, and say that this is a conscionable contract. This is an unconscionable contract. That's another reason. That's another reason why registrations are illegal in Texas.
Okay.
Forceful registrations. I'm not talking about registering a business vehicle. That's well known to be a must and a requirement. It's when it gets to the private individual that those constitutional rights supersede any state legislature that puts out these statutes. Must be done within the context of the United States Constitution.
Okay.
There is no
This is
argument.
stuff that you'd have to take up with the state legislature, the
Well,
law is how
you're
it
here.
is.
You're here. That's you.
I'm a city prosecutor.
And
Okay?
you're supposed. Well, I mean, I know you represent the
If there was
city.
something wrong with this ticket, legitimately wrong, if something had not been followed properly, I would dismiss it. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to dismiss it.
Okay.
Unless you get your vehicle registered, then I'm happy to.
But okay, so here's the look. I haven't told anybody this. I have a problem getting my vehicle registered because it is a salvage title.
Okay?
I've spent hundreds of dollars trying to locate this title. The people who sold me the vehicle disappeared because I think they're crackheads.
Okay.
Nonetheless, it's been heck for me. But you brought me to this position to where it's very difficult to meet your requirement.
It's not my
That's-
requirement, it's the state of Texas. Okay?
The state of Texas has the respect for the United States Constitution. You should too.
I do.
Then this violates my Fourth and Fifth Amendment. We don't register our guns. We don't register sex offenders anymore. And I don't have any obligation to register a salvage vehicle that I will never use for commercial
You
purposes.
can try to make that argument to the judge before the jury.
You know what reasonable doubt is? Reasonable is something that can be used and applied using the United States Constitution.
Okay.
That's reasonable. Unreasonable is proceeding and pushing on with this charge, knowing that this is a violation and not even taking it into consideration.
Oh, I'm
That's
taking what you're
unreasonable.
saying into consideration.
Well, then, please drop this ticket. I'm a grandfather. I hardly work. I don't have money to spend on stuff like this.
I'm sorry, I can't.
I don't think you're
I
really
think
sorry.
You're a good person. I'm not doing this.
See, you didn't catch me robbing anybody. You didn't catch me breaking and entering. This is just paperwork. So the only violence and being threatened on anybody is being threatened by the state on me.
Okay.
Why? Why would you take part in that?
It's my job. I'm a prosecutor with the city.
No, it's your job to enforce the Constitution to prevent this sort of thing.
There is nothing illegal happening here.
I just told you where it's illegal. It's the Fourth and Fifth
So
Amendment.
respectfully, you and I may never agree on this. We probably will never agree on this. This is my point of view.
I'm
This
not
is
hold-
your point of view.
I'm not
It's
using
me.
I'm not using men with guns to make you make a decision. You're using men with guns to make me make a decision.
I'm
That's
not,
an
sir.
unconscionable. Then
I'm
okay,
not.
then I can refuse. Then right,
Refuse what?
all of this. Refuse to cooperate.
That's up to you. You're set for a trial.
Yeah, and if I
You
refuse to
can
if
go
I
to
refuse to
trial,
go,
you can change your plea.
Right.
You cannot show up.
right.
But then at that point, they're going to issue your warrant.
Let's see there's the threats
Okay.
over paperwork.
Okay.
Why would you do that?
We're done talking about this. It would be the court that issued that warrant.
You can't answer that. Why would you initiate violence on me over paperwork?
It's not violence.
The warrant is violence. That is veiled threat initiating violence. And if I continue to refuse and if I choose not to cooperate with that, then you will initiate more violence.
I'm not going to initiate any violence.
You're taking part of it. You're part of the state.
I am the prosecutor of the legal law, sir.
You should dismiss this is unlawful.
I'm not going to. Okay?
Then
So
you are
what we're
part
gonna
of the
go back
problem.
to is you received a copy of the ticket on that date. You have a copy of that, correct?
I'm not answering any of your
Okay.
questions.
So I was just trying to provide you with discovery. Do you need to see any body camera footage? Do you need to see anything else while you're here?
Sure. I need okay, so I need to get an evidence disclosure request. And that should include certificates of completion for training with regard to Texas Transportation Code. And any documents showing that I signed the waiver form, waiving my Fifth Amendment right. And if you do not have it, then I have no obligation.
Okay. I'm going to show you everything that I have. I have this
Mhm.
that the court has scanned in. I have a copy of your ticket, which you have a copy of that.
Oh, so I have a copy, but the copy is not legible and readable, so you can go ahead and discard that. It's no use to me. I'll take the
Okay.
copy of that
Okay,
because the one that was given to me is unreadable.
okay. I'm gonna give you a copy of that.
See, just make note that this is the first time I see this.
Okay. Um,
What else?
you can